today's episode, we're talking about the 5 root causes of acne. At the beginning, I'm going to name all of them out, and then we're going to walk through each one of these in today's show. So the first one to talk about is congested detox pathways. The second one to talk about is inflammation. The third one is imbalance. And I could just stop there. And you may question, well, I thought you said there were 5. There are 5. The thing with imbalance is imbalance can present in 3 different ways. Imbalance can present as pH imbalance, sebum production imbalance, or as hormonal imbalance. And so just to name this off really quickly again so that you're convinced there are 5, is congested detox pathways, inflammation, pH imbalance, sebum production imbalance, that's 4, and then hormonal imbalance is the 5th one. Let's go ahead and dive into this topic. All right, what do I mean by congested detox pathways? Detox is something that, if you've listened to previous podcast episodes, you're likely familiar with my definition of detox. Detox is not just the fact that we are exposed on a daily basis to more man-made toxins than our parents or our grandparents or our great-grandparents. It's also what we put in our body. It's the normal metabolic waste. It's even if you were living in a bubble and you were living off the grid and you're making all of your own food, you're still going to have toxins inside your body every day, because when we metabolize food, we don't do that at 100% conversion or 100% efficiency. And so these metabolic waste products, when those get kind of stuck in your body somewhere, that contributes to this congested detox pathway. Now, what are your primary routes of detoxifying within your body? Well, the key one of these is your lymph system. And your lymph, now it's been a hot minute since we talked about lymph here on the podcast, so I'm kind of excited to revisit this in today's episode. This is also something that if you, that you'll find linked in today's show notes is some other conversations around lymph flow. So what is lymph? Well, lymph it's essentially your first line of defense against infection. It is composed of things like your white blood cells. It's also composed of fluid. Lymph interfaces very closely with your GI tract. And with that interface with your GI tract, there is it's coming into close proximity to the food that you're eating. And so it's also how what you're eating gets out of your GI tract and into your bloodstream. So lymph, there's a component of lymph known as chyle, which helps to package up, and when I say chyle, I mean CHYLE, and it helps to package up the little bits of food particles that are now down in your intestines. And it helps to transport those out of your intestines, again, into your bloodstream, where they circulate through your body. Actually, head over to your liver first. This is what is known as first pass metabolism. And this happens when you eat things or drink things. Make it over into your liver, where your liver begins the act of breaking those products down, breaking those foodstuffs down, breaking those drugs down if you happen to be taking any drugs, by mouth. So your liver starts to process these, break these down, either for elimination from your body in the event that your liver recognizes it as something that should not be in your body, or for distribution throughout your body to the tissues that need that, whatever it is that it contains, whatever kind of nutrients it contains, whether it's specific vitamins, minerals, or macronutrients like those fats, carbs, and protein. So, and you produce quite a bit of lymph a day. And if that, and lymph travels throughout your entire body. So very much like your circulatory system where you have, or your cardiovascular system where you have all of these veins and arteries and they're connected and your heart serves as a pump. With lymph, you also have a lymph system flowing throughout your body. And this is also composed of small network of tunnels and pathways that look very much like veins or arteries. And their job is to move lymph fluid through your body. And unlike your circulatory system, which has that pump, your heart, your lymph system does not have a pump. And so what it relies on instead is normal movement from your body. And here when I say normal movement, what I'm mostly talking about is your skeletal muscle movement. So with your lymph system, you have pockets. It's essentially almost like command centers or like your Grand Central Station of lymph network and lymph node. And this is in the, what am I trying to say? This presents as a lymph node. And you have collections of these at the major joints in your body. So your ankle, behind your knee, in your groin, under your armpit, in your elbow are major collections. This is where all of those smaller lymph vessels feed in and collect in these lymph nodes. There are multiple lymph nodes at each one of these collection points. So each one of these major joints within your body, there are more than one lymph node. And what that does is further, it stores more of this lymph fluid and is also a point where this lymph fluid is able to continue traveling up. Ultimately, what happens is your lymph drains into your circulatory system. And where that happens is kind of here in the small of your neck. So kind of right behind your collarbone here. There's a drainage point for the lymph system back into your circulatory system. The act of breathing is so important because the other thing about lymph is you have both superficial lying lymph vessels throughout your body and you also have deeper lying lymph vessels throughout your body. And so just the act of breathing, this movement of your diaphragm up and down within your chest, if you're watching the YouTube video, I'm trying to demonstrate this while also being a little too close to the camera. But anyways, as your diaphragm is moving, on your inhale and your exhale, what that is doing is massaging some of these lymph nodes that lie along your GI tract. And here, of course, when I say GI tract, GI is gastrointestinal tract. It's synonymous with digestive tract. And so when you breathe, again, just that act of breathing is moving your diaphragm up and down and massaging some of this deeper lying lymph. This is also why I'm convinced that this is why Pilates works the way that it does. If you haven't heard me talk about Joseph Pilates before on the podcast, there's an entire episode dedicated to Pilates because essentially Joseph Pilates, his great claim was that he was working with interned men on the Isle of Man during World War I. And during World War I, a major pandemic was circling the world. It was known as the Spanish flu. It circled the world twice. It mutated several times. It was catastrophic and it was killing people in their prime. It was actually killing people between the ages of 18 and 35 at higher rates than it was people outside those age ranges. And so you can imagine that soldiers who were getting the Spanish flu were dying at higher rates than other people because they're already in those age ranges. And so Joseph Pilates was working with these interned internment camp on the Isle of Man, and he was at one of the hospitals there. He was also working with bedridden patients. And this is, if you've ever done Pilates and you're curious why some of those contraptions look the way they do, here I'm talking about the Reformer and the Cadillac and any of the other Pilates equipment. If you've ever wondered why it looks the way it does, it's because Joe Pilates was developing these or using hospital beds in order to facilitate this equipment. So he was strapping springs or cables or what have you to hospital beds to make it so that the patients could exercise these movements when we're talking the Pilates movements that require the equipment. There's, of course, mat Pilates as well, which that's much easier to see. Oh, yeah, a hospital could serve as a Pilates mat. But anyways, I digress. His great claim was that none of the people that he worked with contracted the Spanish flu. And this is quite profound. I really believe that the reason for, or actually, let me revise that statement. He said that none of the people that he worked with succumbed to the Spanish flu. And again, regardless of which way it is, whether it's contracted the Spanish flu, whether it's succumbed to the Spanish flu, it hardly matters. This was something that was just ravaging the world. I don't want to compare pandemics, not here to do that. Just, this was bad. This was really bad. This was Walking Dead, the season in the prison kind of bad. Like, that was how people were dying. They were bleeding out of their eyes. So because of how this impacted the body and people, again, during their prime of their life. So anyways, I really believe that why Pilates works the way it works is because in all of these movements, you are focused so much on moving your core. And this is something that you don't move very much during other forms of exercise. You don't move your core very much when you're walking or when you're running or when you're bicycling or even when you're swimming. And Pilates, it's all about that core movement. You've got all of these roll-ups, you've got all of these exercises that are focused on twisting your core and just like massaging your entire spine, like using these deeper lying muscles within your core. And again, I believe that the reason why Joseph Pilates was able to make this claim is because of the way Pilates worked in helping keep lymph flow moving. Because lymph is so important to your overall health and well-being. And then, again, it's kind of your first line of, it's when we're talking immune system, it's kind of your first line, or it is your first line of defense against anything foreign and infectious that were to enter your body, whether this is through your nose or through your mouth. It doesn't really matter. So, having properly flowing lymph is the single best way that you're able to maintain healthy flow through your detox pathways. Your lymph is a primary detoxification system within your body. I mean, we often think of our liver and our kidneys and maybe even our lungs as being the organs of detox, and these are more the organs of elimination. It's all about the lymph being able to flow properly, so it's all about having abundant enough lymph fluid within your body, and it's all about that lymph fluid flowing. So it's about the viscosity, the thickness of that lymph. You want to have lymph that's closer in consistency to water than to molasses in order for it to flow very well. And then once that lymph drains into your circulatory system, then you're able to, rely on your circulatory system to circulate that lymph to where it needs to go, to one of those three main organs of elimination. Again, your liver, your kidneys, and your lungs. Um, this kind of brings us to, I don't want to leave the conversation on lymph yet, but I do want to call out here that your skin is actually a fourth organ of elimination from your body. So we talk about pee, poop, and sweat. The thing that we leave missing from this, from that conversation, is breath, because your breath, you are able to exhale lots of toxins from your body through your breath. Ketones is one example of this if in diabetics. Um, so let's see. Oh yeah, so your skin is a fourth organ of elimination, and this is why when you have these congested detox pathways, this is why when your primary organs of elimination, when your liver, when your liver especially, when your kidneys or when your lungs are overburdened, then things go out through your skin. So those toxins go out through your skin. And getting back over to lymph, when those toxins are kind of dilute enough, again, when that lymph fluid is abundant enough to dilute out those toxins, then they're less likely to cause the inflammation, to cause the congested pores that will lead to acne. Let's see. Last thing on this, we will split this episode up and talk about these other four in a separate episode because, I'm trying to keep these fairly short. But last, and then now that I've mentioned that, I've totally lost my train of thought. Oh, your liver. So with your liver, why is your liver so important? Well, this kind of ties over to hormonal imbalance. The question is, when does acne start to present? And it starts to present around puberty for most people. And the reason for that is because at that time in your life, all of a sudden, your body is producing hormones that it has never produced before. And so this is challenging to your liver, because your liver detoxes. And again, detox here is your liver breaks down those hormones for elimination from your body. So your liver all of a sudden has all of these extra demands put on it that it didn't have before. And it's your liver in particular, because each of these hormones is cholesterol based. These are steroid hormones within your body, which means that they have that central structure of cholesterol that then, things are changed somewhere on the molecule to make them into the different types of estrogen or progesterone or DHEA or testosterone or whatever other reproductive hormones that we're talking about. They're primarily steroid based hormones, and again, that your liver is processing. So that's why liver health is also so important. So what are you able to do in order to support your lymph flow and in order to support like a cush, abundant, healthy lymph fluid? Well, be sure that you're drinking enough water. And here I opt, I'm a huge fan. I don't mind tap water. It needs to be filtered tap water, and it needs to be filtered with a filter that removes fluorine, preferably one that also removes synthetic estrogens from the drinking water. And if you know of one of those, let me know, because I'm always on the lookout for a good water filter. So be sure that you're drinking enough water a day. You don't have to force your water intake. Just be sure that you're drinking enough. Like, drink when you're thirsty. Be sure that your urine is straw colored. This assumes that you're not taking abundant B vitamins or anything else that's going to change the color of your urine anyways. That's one. The other thing, this is linked in today's show notes. I had Dr. Leslie Deems on the show to talk through the importance of lymph and how you're able to just help your lymph out and help maintain good lymph flow. She is a huge fan of radishes for helping keep lymph healthy. She's also a huge fan of rebounding, which this is jumping on a trampoline. Um, so she talks about those two in addition to some other things in that episode, again, linked in today's show notes. This is also where, when we're talking superficial lymph drainage or superficial lymph flow, things like dry brushing are very helpful. Things like manual lymph drainage are very helpful. And there is a link because this one in particular, if you're struggling with acne, doing a daily manual lymph drainage for your face is very beneficial. And so there's a link to a YouTube video where I guide you through how to do manual lymph drainage on your face. And then lastly, just another throwback to Pilates. I mean, if you are doing any type of exercise, that's fantastic, because that's definitely going to help move lymph. If you are somebody that is actively struggling with acne, like I can't really understate how supportive I truly believe Pilates is for helping maintain lymph flow. And so if you're able to do one 1 hour Pilates session, and here I'm talking about a full mat course, follow it on YouTube. You find your favorite classical Pilates mat course or exercises on YouTube and just do that 45 to 1 hour session once a week. If you struggle to find an hour that you're able to dedicate to doing Pilates, break it up into smaller sessions and do, that class over the course of a week. So it may look like, 10 minutes one day, 15 minutes the next. Doesn't really matter, but just do the class one time through once a week, whether it's all in one session or you break it up. My real personal preference is to do that class twice a week, if you're able to find the time. So anyways, that is a wrap on detox pathways. Next time on the show, we'll talk about inflammation. Again, just to keep these less than 30 minutes as we continue this discussion of inflammation and then those 3 different types of imbalance. I'll do what I can, see where it makes sense to break it up next time, and then break it up there, and we may have a third and possibly even 4th conversation around this. All right. That is all I wanted to say about that. Oh, I will say that this, so I will say today's episode is kind of a preview of what I cover in Rain Organica's complete course on the root causes of acne. And in that one, for every single one of these, we dive into the solutions that you're able to make. So, because the intention is next time or for the rest of these to just go over why they play a cause or a role in the development of acne without necessarily giving you the next steps for eliminating this as a root cause for acne in your life. So if you're interested in the complete course and want to go ahead and sign up for it, hit that link in today's show notes. It is a pay what you want course. So, it's totally up to you on how much you're willing or you think this information is worth. So you decide. All right. As always, thank you so much for listening. If you know someone who would find benefit from today's show, please take a quick second and share this episode with them, and be sure to leave a 5-star review. Until next time, bye.